This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Minneapolis, get ready. Music legend Paul McCartney is bringing his Got Back tour to US Bank Stadium October 17th. Tickets drop July 18th at 10 a.m., but beat the rush. Register now for the artist presale at paulmccartneygotback.com. One night, one icon. Don't miss it. Full details, KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
You got him. Probably could have had the mic turned off for that question.
I do have him. Yes.
Yeah, it's unusual for me to not see a line blinking with our next guest, but Charch can connect in all kinds of ways. And we're very happy that we found a way to do that just now on a Friday football feast. They're not the same without Charch. We understand that. Hopefully he'll continue to have a presence from his new digs out west in Utah. Charch, good morning, my man.
Well, I've missed you. It's I think the word beloved is a little strong, but I appreciate being back on the feast. It's been too long. And does the McCartney news do anything for you? Is this something are you gonna make an effort to go find tickets to get to US Bank Stadium October 17th?
I'm not, for one reason. I saw him the last time he was here, which was, I guess it's almost 10 years ago. I can't believe that. I really enjoyed the show. It was great. But, I've seen him, and now he's, 80? What is he?
Older.
Yeah, he's
85.
Is he 85? I mean,
I think.
Isn't it amazing that we've got entertainers who can fill? Is he at US Bank Stadium?
US Bank Stadium.
Think about that. At 85, he is going to fill US Bank Stadium. And, the voice isn't the same. We understand that, but there's not a bigger legend. I mean, you put Mick Jagger in the same category, but
he's royalty.
He's not, but he's not as big.
How are you as far as his music, the Beatles? Are you a fan? Have you always liked the Beatles?
Well, I'm glad you asked.
Because you're kind of a funky music guy.
Yeah, not particularly, but this podcast I've been listening to for about 2 years now is called A History of Rock and Roll in 500 Songs. And it starts in the 1930s with swing and has worked its way chronologically up to, I'm currently into the late 60s. And so, and these podcasts can be pretty long. They can run like, between 45 minutes and 2 or 3 hours of detail on a song and the people behind them and, everything that led up to the song. And of course, once you get into the 60s, you really I've learned so much about the Beatles and have such a changed perspective on two big things. One, that there was no blueprint on what they were doing. They, when the Beatles started making their music, even from the point of their very first album forward, there was nobody making music like them. And then of course they evolved every single album into a very, very different band than the one that had started with. And then the second thing that I didn't fully appreciate is they just cratered all of music internationally. Everything that was before them instantly sounded dated and nobody was interested in him. And the bands that were out back then, you were trying to put out an album that sounded like what people wanted in 1964, what you thought they wanted. And it turned out that nobody wanted that. Everybody just wanted something that sounded like the Beatles, Dave. And it's, it goes without saying, obviously, that they were incredibly important, but I think even more so than I had realized anyway. Are you a Beatles guy? Does that do anything for you?
Yeah, I am. The first album I ever owned was Abbey Road. So I think I was 12 or 13. I was into the Beach Boys first, I think, like 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. I remember loving the Beach Boys. And then I was given Abbey Road, which was not early Beatles. It wasn't the Please, Please Me, I Want to Hold Your Hand. It was that next iteration of the Beatles. And I've actually been to Abbey Road. I've been to taking the iconic picture with my wife and daughter when we were in London for the Packer game a few years ago. We made a point to check out the Abbey Road studios and buy some little tchotchkes and take the picture on the street, which is really funny because if you've never been there, it's very dangerous because everybody wants to take pictures, at that spot. And there's a lot of traffic going by. This is not just some out-of-the-way little suburban spot. This is urban London. And so
you have to wait in line practically.
You do.
Yeah.
I mean, motorists understand that if you're on Abbey Road at that particular spot, you're likely going to have to stop for a while and make sure all the pedestrians are watching you. It's dicey, but I love the Beatles in my younger days. I still listen. In fact, I remember during COVID when we had, the kids were home. At the time, my kids were in 2020, they were like 15, 17. And so for them to be home with the parents and not out with their friends was weird. But it became like this nightly thing where we'd play poker as a family or play board games.
Ooh, I like it.
And the only music we could all agree on was the Beatles. So we would tell Alexa, play Beatles music. And we listened to hours and hours of Beatles music. And my kids gained more of an appreciation. So, it's not something in my music, daily anymore. But, I'm a longtime Beatles fan. If you haven't seen McCartney and you could find a way to see him once in your life, that's something that should be on some people that love music on their bucket list for sure.
I think US Bank is arguably the best football stadium, period. I think it's absolutely fantastic for its primary purpose. And the one thing that almost everybody seems to agree with is it's not a great music venue.
Yeah.
And I think you have to be very, very close to the stage. I think the farther you get back, the more, the more the acoustics of that building don't work very well. And so I think to me, if I'm going to go to Paul McCartney, I'm going to pay, do we know what tickets are? I bet
no.
tickets are up close or like $700, $800 non-VIP. I think you have to just pay it so you get the best possible sound. And also, who wants to watch an ant, right? If you're in the third tier, I don't think that's not an experience that I want to have. I want to be a little more connected to the musicians on the stage than be sitting in section 312.
Yeah, stadiums are never great. I saw U2 at US Bank Stadium, and I said to myself at that point, I'm not coming back unless the acoustics are better. I was not real close. It was really hard to hear. Beck opened for U2, and I couldn't hear anything. It was disappointing. So yeah, I'm with you there.
I'd rather see Beck. I think Beck is. We don't have to go down this rabbit hole.
Yeah,
Beck, to me, is one of the most underappreciated artists, current active artists in America. His albums are all quasi themed. He'll do a slow, batty album. Then he does a Latino tinged album. Then he just does pop hits. And, then he does a guitar heavy album. And it's just his range it's crazy. Yeah. I think Beck is so underappreciated, and he brings so many unique things to the table. I just think that guy I think he's tremendous, and not enough people talk about him.
I am 100% with you. I never thought in my life I would ever agree with you on a music take because we are polar opposites, mostly when it comes to music. But no, I love Beck. Odelay is still an album that I play very frequently. So I'm with you there. He's brilliant. All right. Yeah. I only have you for one segment, Charch. Right. So we got to, well, first of all, how's life in Utah? Remind us all again what town you're in.
I'm in southern Utah, very near Zion. I can see the mountains and mesas of Zion from my house. I'm in a small town called Virgin, Dave, and it's halfway between Zion and St. George. St. George is fairly big, and it's a huge golfing mecca. If you love golf, you already know about St. George. About 2.5 hours from Las Vegas. And it's been unusually hot here, and we have a forest fire that's in its third week. That's not too far away that we're dealing with, but the topography is it's unbelievable. People are super nice. I know Minnesota nice is, it's real, and Minnesota is a community filled with, by and large, very nice people, but it's a whole different level here. The people are just crazy, crazy kind.
And you're channeling your outdoor Charchism, right? You're embracing nature in your new home.
Yeah, getting out hiking. I mean, this is, why I'm here was to shake up my life and to go do things I couldn't do in Minnesota for my whole life. Mm-hmm. And so, we take morning hikes almost every day, take the dogs out off leash. There's just hundreds of miles of trails, within hundreds, within an hour of us. And so there's all these places to go, national parks. Grand Canyon's 2 hours. Bryce is 90 minutes. Zion's 10 minutes. Snow Canyon. It's just, there's so many amazing places in southern Utah.
That's awesome. Really happy for you. We're not going to see your smiling faces often, but I'm glad we get to hear you, and I'm glad you're enjoying your life so far. And I know we'll hear lots of you as football season gets closer. And
Monday, I'll be doing this shift Monday.
Oh,
so
beautiful.
You'll be hearing me again then.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, let me know if you need a segment to talk Packers. I'm always available for you.
Well, don't tempt me. We might reciprocate here.
So where do we start? We're 2 weeks away from training camps opening. Blakemore and I were already talking. We've got the bug, whether it's watching quarterback on Netflix or just realizing we're getting closer and closer. Are you as excited as all Vikings fans about getting another close look at J.J. McCarthy and you can debate whether he's been handed the keys to a Rolls Royce or an Acura or a Buick. I mean, we can talk about that, but how excited are you to see J.J. back on the field with this incredible opportunity with the roster around him? Is that just all you're thinking about right now when it comes to the purple?
Well, yeah. If you frame it up as part of the purple, it's two things that I'm really, really excited about. That's one of them, because keep in mind, Dave, we haven't had the opportunity for talent at quarterback like this really in my lifetime. I mean, really, back to Dante Culpepper.
I was
right?
going to say
was the
Dante,
last.
Yeah,
he was the last quarterback that this team drafted that has the upside that we believe J.J. McCarthy has got. And Dante got dropped into a pretty good spot, and he had success for a while. McCarthy is dropped into a uniquely amazing spot with Jefferson and Addison and Hawkinson, and a two-headed running game that I think is going to be much better than people realize. And the rebuilt offensive line with the interiors. Christian Darrisaw might start week 1. Brian O'Neill is fantastic. I mean, it's just first-year players, first-year quarterbacks never get dropped into this spot.
Right.
And what I love about that, Dave, is this. If he doesn't work out, it's on J.J. McCarthy. He's just not the guy. I mean, this isn't going to be a 3-year Kenny Pickett-like situation where we're going to be wondering if he's the guy or not. If you can't succeed here with Kevin O'Connell and these weapons, it's on you, and we can turn the page fast. But I think he's going to be very good. And to me, as a lifelong Viking fan who not only bleeds purple but actually pees purple, it's going to be 10 out of 10 viewing to me to watch his development this year. I can't wait.
So you think the leash is a bit shorter than what most first-year starting quarterbacks get? It sounds like from what you just said. I mean, if he has an absolute disaster of a season, yeah, maybe you start to look on. But I mean, you've got to give him a little time. I understand the roster is built to win now, but I don't know. Would you just turn the page if it's a letdown season from your quarterback?
Yeah, I might. I mean, yeah, depending on how bad it is. And again, I don't think it's going to go this way. I think he's going to be very successful. Yeah. But, and I'm not saying that we should make a move to Brett Rippon in week 6. And so just to be extra clear about that. But I think if we get to the end of this season and J.J. McCarthy looks like the 27th best quarterback in the league, and there are some pretty significant questions about what he's able to do. Yeah. I mean, at that point, with given that he is not a rookie and all the talent around him and a fantastic quarterback coach, I do believe it would be an off season where I'd be looking to try to find other quarterback help.
I can't believe you're going to turn to Brett Rippon before you go to Sam Howell. What happened to your love affair with Sam Howell?
I do love Sam Howell. I still love Sam Howell. I think that dude got dealt a bad hand in his one starting season in Washington with Ron Rivera when the whole thing was collapsing. And yeah, that was tough. When he absorbed like 68 sacks that year, that was a bad spot for him. But who knows? It might be Kirk Cousins back here. Who's to say? Yeah,
you can't rule it out. You said you're just 2.5 hours from Vegas, so I'm assuming as high as you are on your favorite team, you've already made the over bet on 8.5 wins for the Vikings, correct?
No, the bet to make, and unfortunately, I've talked about this enough that the line's moved. The bet you want is Jordan Mason at 10 touchdowns, and also Jordan Mason at lead the NFL in touchdowns, Dave.
Wow.
Rushing touchdowns.
All right, that is a scalding hot take. I am high on that addition to the offense, but that is a scalding hot take. Leading the NFL in touchdowns, he's not the opening day starter for the team.
So let's talk about the last 3 seasons rushing leaders by touchdowns. Last season, James Cook went from 2 rushing touchdowns to 16 in one season. Mm-hmm. The year before that, and don't feel bad that you don't remember. And if you're listening, feel free to play along. If you remember who the rushing touchdown leader was 2 years ago, Raheem Mostert, 18. Year before that, Dave, you might remember who the NFL's leading rushing touchdown guy was.
I might, but I don't recall what I had for breakfast.
In the division, Jamal Williams.
Oh, wow.
You see the point I'm making? I mean, it's not Saquon Barkley, right? It's, these are, Christian McCaffrey. These are goal line role players to a great degree on high powered offenses. And we know Aaron Jones isn't getting that work. He has been dreadful at goal line work for 2 years. Last year on his 14 carries from inside the 5, he ran for -4 yards. This is just not what he does. And for that matter, at the Vikings draft party, when he was on stage, I asked Aaron Jones, who was nice enough to be there, specifically about his role in short yardage. And he said, yeah, it's Jordan Mason. So that's what they brought him in for. He's the bigger back. He's been quietly really, really good in the work that he had gotten in San Francisco. He's going to be a big factor here. So that's the bet that I like right now is Jordan Mason, double-digit touchdowns, and Jordan Mason to lead the NFL in rushing touchdowns. That opened at
I was going to say, what are the odds? 400
and I started banging the drum on it on VSiN and a few other places, and it's dropped down to like 80 to 1. I'm not saying I moved it personally.
You're a line mover, is what you are. You're a mover of lines, Charch.
I really am.
I love that. That is a hot take. So let's move off the purple for our last couple minutes. It's never too early to think fantasy football. We are weeks away from drafts. Yeah. You must really closely follow some of the small little items that you have to scroll down at ESPN.com, like Tristan Wirfs is going to miss the start of the season for the Bucks, and that might hamper your favorite running back. Or Najee Harris gets his eye injured in fireworks. Like, how closely do you watch some of these, I won't say minutia, but stories that aren't going to lead SportsCenter, but might have an impact on your fantasy building?
Well, my rankings are up at Fantasy Life,
of course
so
they are.
I'm monitoring this closely. So adjusting rankings, got them in front of me right now. Yeah, so I'm tracking all this stuff closely. I'm already in. I'm doing the draft right now in an Empire League. I mean, I've been drafting, so we're ready to roll over here. I can tell you that much.
I guess I should not at all be surprised by that in one form or another. Who is your right now hot take? You gave us the touchdown leader in Jordan Mason being your little crush. Do you have any other sleepers? Don't worry, no one's listening. You're not going to move lines or change odds here. But who are some of the guys that people aren't thinking about right now that you might want to just stick in the back of your mind and pay attention to as it gets closer to draft season?
Well, going undrafted and unfairly, Adam Thielen, who was outstanding last year he missed about half the season. The soft tissue injuries are a total bummer with Thielen. But when he was playing, that Carolina passing offense went entirely through him. Now, they did end up taking another wide receiver in the first round, Tet McMillan, and that's gonna complicate things a little bit. But he's still the veteran who's got the experience in the system and the experience with his quarterback. And Thielen made what I believe are 2 of the 10 best catches of the entire year last year across the entire league, where Adam Thielen, one on the left sideline, one in the back of the end zone, that almost nobody can make. And again, going undrafted, I think that's absurd. And I think that's problematic. The other guy another receiver who I'm really, really high on, way over other people, taking him several rounds earlier, Jacoby Myers, the wide receiver for the Raiders. Raiders are going to be maybe the most improved offense in the NFL. In fact, we're going to talk about it on Fantasy Football Weekly later today. You'll be able to hear that. We encourage you to download. Co-host today is Matt Harrison. This whole Raider offense is going to be way better. Obviously, they'll get tons of balance on offense with the addition of Ashton Jeanty, but also Geno Smith's a good quarterback. Dave, get this. You want to guess where Geno Smith finished in yards, passing yards last year?
I don't want to guess. I want you to tell me.
4th.
Really?
Completions last year, 3rd. First downs last year, 5th. I mean, and Seattle's just like, we don't need you. And this is a massive, massive upgrade over Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew from last year. So I just think this whole offense gets way better. And I'm really excited, not about the Raiders in general as a team that I think is going to surprise, but also Jacoby Myers, the guy I'm targeting specifically out of that offense.
All right, last one for you. I'm going to quote PA here, 30 seconds, you get it all. Where should Brock Bowers be drafted in fantasy football this year?
Well, thank you for asking, because I think you almost can't draft him too early. Brock Bowers set basically every meaningful record for rookie tight ends last year. If he gets 15, 20% better as a sophomore with Geno Smith, who I just mentioned, we're looking at a guy who could be, he could very easily provide the highest position differentiation of any player, Brock Bowers. And so right now I have him going 7th. I have no problem if you want to take Brock Bowers first, you don't have to. But if you want to take him first, that's a defensible position. And as far as I'm concerned, I wouldn't blame you for going quite that. I'd trade back before I would actually take him there. I would,
right.
I'd try to get some equity and turn the first overall pick into pick 7 plus a 3rd round pick. But I love Brock Bowers. Liked him last year. But I've got him. Where he's going naturally right now is on average draft position, beginning of the 2nd round. I think you could take him middle of the 1st round easily.
Dirk from Cambridge wants to know when guillotine leagues will be available to start drafting.
They are available in limited capacity right now at guillotineleagues.com. Right, we did a lot of work under the hood over the offseason, and so what's available right now are basically it's $0 leagues. So we're kicking the tires, just making sure everything's right. But if you want to play and you want to start a guillotine league, a $0 guillotine league right now, you can do that. Playing with other people from the internet. We'll have private league support coming on board soon, and paid leagues coming as well.
Awesome. I have fallen in love with that format. I can't wait to play again this year.
You.
Charch, love the time, love catching up. Wish I had more time. Can't wait to hear from you 9 to noon on Monday. Enjoy your hikes, enjoy the weather, and have a great weekend, my man.
It sounds great. And if we do talk Monday, we're going to talk about my favorite sleeper quarterback, Jordan Love.
Oh, man. I'm available whenever you need me. We can go 3-4 segments.
That's all it took, right?
See you, Charch. Have a good weekend, my man.
Bye-bye.
Paul Charchian, Utah resident Charch, will be sitting in this chair 9 to noon on Monday, we learned. We'll pause here. We'll try to catch up coming up at 10:35, 10:40 or so. Ross Raihala to talk Superman, summer movie, music scene. We'll take a step away. But let's come back and catch up on things when we return on The Fan.
Before we go, The Fan at BigDeck.com. I'm going to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with the National Cash Contest. Head to KFAN.com. The keyword is money. Keyword is money. KFAN.com. Keyword money.
Fan.
The Lynx head to the Windy City tomorrow afternoon, take on the Chicago Sky. Tip off at noon. Catch every play, every bucket, every big moment right here on The Fan, or as always, on the Lynx station on the free iHeartRadio app.
Went a bit long with Charch, so this will be a shorter segment. Try to get back on schedule. Next segment, Ross Raihala of TwinCities.com will check in to talk some music and movies with us. Superman opens today. Brett Blakemore, are you a Marvel/DC comics? Are you one of those aficionados? Do you like these movies?
I'm a diehard MCU guy. Typically, if I delve into DC, it'd be like for a Batman flick. I loved the Robert Pattinson one. I thought that was brilliant. Anything else really DC, I really haven't touched. The reviews are good. Well, I'll let our next guest decide if I'm going to go see Superman or not.
And I know he liked it. That was firewalled. I couldn't read the whole review, unfortunately. But it's the director, James Gunn, who did all the Guardians of the Galaxies movies, which I think gives a lot of people hope that this will be an interesting take on the Superman saga, something different, maybe not as dark as some of the DC movies we've come to know and love. So that's coming up next. It got me thinking, though, on a tangential subject. I want to vent about something about watching movies from home. I don't know. Am I making too big a deal? Am I the only one? Or do others have the same issue? So, been watching a lot of movies with the kids, the boys especially. They've got this list. They've made these lists of movies they have to see. Movies from before they were born, like some of the early Christopher Nolan movies, the Tarantino movies. They're trying to go through all those because some of their friends have seen them. So we've tried to make a point of seeing a lot of movies this summer. My boys and my wife, when we're watching something, whether it's a movie or a TV show at home, always want the subtitles on. Drives me crazy. I focus on reading, and I'm not looking at the movie. I'm looking at the words, and I'm like, they're speaking English. I can understand English. I don't need to read what they're saying. Now, if you're watching like Peaky Blinders, or some show with, some problematic accents, I'm all for it.
Game of Thrones, maybe.
Yeah, well, I never watched Game of Thrones, but if that's if it's hard to understand those people, yes, I'm totally on board for. But if I'm watching like Django Unchained, I don't need subtitles, but they swear like it's a mandatory thing with my family. Subtitles on. Am I making too big a deal out of it? Because I don't see the actors' faces. I don't see what I'm supposed to be seeing, which is a visual medium, a movie. I'm staring at the words, and it bugs me.
I'm a subtitles guy.
Is it a generational thing, maybe?
It could be. I do find myself doing what you're doing, where I'm reading and not paying attention to the actual, facial expressions and everything. But I do catch things that I probably wouldn't have caught otherwise if I didn't have them on. So I typically go with the subtitles on. But yeah, I understand at least where your headspace is at, that you may not be watching for every little eye movement or scowl that's going on. But I think overall you get more of the essence of the story if you have them on, personally.
All right. Well, look, I'm not going to die on this hill. I don't understand why it needs to be a mandatory thing. It's just something I've noticed this summer, and I'm just outvoted. It's 3-1. I'm dead. So that's the way that works. Update from Wimbledon. We have a final set, at least half of it. Alcaraz just beat Taylor Fritz. Carlos Alcaraz in 4 sets moves on to the Wimbledon men's final. He will face the winner of Sinner and Djokovic, which should start up in the next 15 or 20 minutes. I'm always guaranteed on Wimbledon Saturday that Double T will be somewhat, watching Wimbledon. Not as bad as the Serena Williams days. If it was a women's final with Serena, I'm like snapping my fingers at Trent. Like, dude, we got a show to do. I don't think he has quite that tunnel vision anymore, but it's something I'll be paying attention to tomorrow. Hopefully you will get up and listen to Trent and me in the zone tomorrow morning, 8 to 10. It's really our first Saturday abyss, because it's not, there's plenty to talk about, obviously, Summer League and all the OKC deals and all that stuff. But last week was the big NBA free agency week, and now it's sort of slowed down. So we'll have a chance to kind of spread our wings and look at some big picture stuff tomorrow morning, 8 to 10 on the Fan. All right, Superman's out today, getting good reviews, but there are some that think the political undertones might cost it some box office. We'll see what Ross Raihala has to say about that. He covers movies, music, pop culture for the Pioneer Press, TwinCities.com. He is next on the Fan.
Celebrate the return of football with the Minnesota Vikings at training camp. I'm so pumped to read this. The fun kicks off Saturday, July 26th for Back Together Saturday. Score tickets today at Vikings.com/camp.
It's so close we can taste it, right? But it's 2 weeks. It's still going to just slow. At least it's summertime. We got lots to do.
Swing the clubs.
We can swing the clubs. I'm going to do that today with the kids.
Lucky.
This afternoon. Little 9-hole. My twins are just kind of getting into golf, so they're not ready for 18 or a real course. But 9 holes, bat the thing around a little bit. Can't wait.
Are you someone that they have to go to the range and be able to hit the ball consistently before you bring them out? Or is this...
No.
This is more secluded in the 9-hole that you think it...
No, we're going to play the Loop in Chaska, which I love. It's a great little 9-hole track, and 8 of the holes are like 100 yards, basically, between 90 and maybe 120. There's one 350-ish par 4, like a real hole, but otherwise, and
little pitch and putt action,
and they can hit the ball. Like they haven't had lessons or anything, and they don't have great clubs, but they can keep up. That's all we ask. Let's just move it along.
Airborne and forward. That's all we need.
Exactly. And they like it. And that's the most important thing. So very much looking forward to that. We dive off the sports page for a segment and bring to the program, I believe, for his KFAN debut. He can tell us if that's incorrect. Ross Raihala, who covers pop culture, movies, music at TwinCities.com and the Pioneer Press. Ross, is this indeed your KFAN debut?
I believe I was on an earlier version of the station with Jason Nagel, like 20 years ago.
Okay. So we're going back just a bit. Welcome to the program. Yeah. Thanks for giving us some time on a Friday. I've enjoyed reading your stuff for a long time. Let's start with the newsiest thing, and that is the Paul McCartney concert that was announced yesterday. He will be at U.S. Bank Stadium in October. What do you know about this tour for one of our favorite octogenarians?
Well, he's 83, so I kind of think that this might be the last time we get to see him here in the cities. Mm-hmm. He's for the last couple decades, he tours regularly, seemingly because he just loves to be on stage. But you got to wonder how much longer. He does 3-hour shows, and
wow.
I would think it's going to be soon where he's going to be like, you know what, I'm just going to, retire and stay home and
I don't think
count my millions.
Yeah, I don't think money is the reason he's doing this. Like some of those old-time musicians will just do it as long as they can squeeze a couple drops out of it. I don't think that's the case with Paul. As you say, he just must still love the thrill of performing and probably just knowing that at 83, he can still fill a stadium from an ego standpoint that has to make you feel pretty good, too, I would think.
Oh, yeah, totally. Look at his catalog. I mean, even if he was just doing the Beatles, but he's got his own solo work. And as I said, he plays 3-hour shows, and you can go to a Paul McCartney show and be like, oh, I wish you would have played this, and this.
Right. It's tough to get through the whole catalog. Exactly. And I'm assuming he surrounds himself with a lot of really talented musicians and maybe some backup singers. Because the voice, if you see, some TikToks, some YouTube videos of his recent stuff, the voice isn't quite, he can't hit the high notes. I'm assuming he has some assistance when he tours these days.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people complaining about, he was here like 10 years ago, and I saw people complaining about his voice at that show, and honestly, I don't remember it being that big of an issue, and I am very big on people still being able to sing. I saw him on SNL, and he's 83. He's good for what he's got still left, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I was at the show at the X whenever that was, and I did not walk out of there going, yeah, he's lost it. Not at all. I thought it was a great show. And yeah, of course, he's not going to hit the high notes, but I didn't walk out thinking, man, he should hang him up. And here he is, 8, 9, 10 years later, still going strong. More power to him. I mean, between him and Springsteen and some of these late 70s, 80s artists that'll still go out there and play for 3 hours, man, you got to tip your caps because there's people 50, 60 years younger touring that if you get an hour and a half, sometimes you're lucky. So I give him credit for that.
And, if you want to hear someone who can't sing, go to a Def Leppard concert.
Really?
Joe Elliott can't sing. He's been terrible for years, and he's probably in his 60s.
Yeah. Still trying to squeeze out whatever he can. All right, good to know. I'll mark that down. Stay away from Def Leppard here in the 2020s. It's movie opening day. Superman opens today. You reviewed it the other day. Did you go into this movie with grand expectations, muted expectations? What were you thinking as James Gunn, the Guardians of the Galaxy guy, helms this prized property and really tries to usher in a whole new era? What were you thinking, and how did you feel when you walked out of the theater?
I grew up reading comics, and I was a big DC kid. And, excuse me, I was very excited to see what he was going to do with it because I think 12 years ago, Man of Steel was the Superman reboot, and I thought it was pretty terrible. But, I saw some of the previews, and the first one I saw had Crypto, the dog, and I was like, they're really going to have a superhero dog, but I went into it and it was fun. It felt like reading comics in that there would be this really great, heartfelt, emotional moment, and then it would be just something completely ridiculous. And if you're a comic book fan, you kind of know that's what comes with the territory. That you have to accept some really outlandish stuff along the way. And I think he does it. The director James Gunn did a really good job of hitting that moment of this is great, but I have to suspend my disbelief.
He didn't go with major stars primarily. Yes, Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane has been really successful with Marvelous Mrs. Maisel and some other stuff. But as far as Superman and Lex Luthor goes, he didn't go with big names. And it sounds like he didn't miss. That worked out rather well in your mind.
Yeah, the guy who plays Superman, David Cornsweet, I knew from he's been in a couple of Ryan Murphy shows, including Hollywood, which is on Netflix, and it's fantastic. It's a revisionist history of Hollywood. But he's worked very steadily for a while, but he's not a star. And I believe 3 or 4 years ago, he had told some reporter that my dream role is Superman, and he's perfect. He's very reminiscent of Christopher Reeves, who I think a lot of people will think is the ultimate Superman. Mm-hmm. But he just comes across as this overgrown adult Boy Scout who's just a good guy and kind and very straightforward. So I think he's brilliant. And as far as Lex Luthor, Nicholas Holt's been in a lot of stuff. I think people who go to movies will be like, oh, I know that guy. He's also good. He really channels Tom Cruise when Tom Cruise is in a role where he's being serious and angry. He kind of hits that note, and it's perfect for the movie. And he also looks like Billy Corgan from Smash.
Yeah, he does. I've seen the trailers. I agree.
Hey, real quick. Yeah. So I'm a diehard Marvel guy, and I like Batman, but I've just never really I've always seen Superman as kind of boring and kind of, almost overtly stoic, or what you were just saying, the kind of adult Boy Scout, and not really human. It's almost like overpowered. Is this movie going to change my mind and make me kind of love and appreciate Superman, or is it kind of more of the same?
I think it's easier to love Superman after seeing this than seeing Man of Steel. The big problem with Superman is that, if he's so powerful, no one can stop him. And this movie does a really good job of, he gets beat up throughout most of the film. And he comes across as far more human than I would have ever expected.
Some critics of this movie are pointing to some political undertones. The idea that an immigrant, is coming in. It's, kind of the story of America in James Gunn's mind, that an immigrant is given an opportunity. But he's trying to save the weak around the world. It's not just an American story. How do you answer some of the charges that, this is a, quote unquote, woke Superman that might turn off a portion of America that is hoping for just a more fun time at the movies?
Well, it's funny because I put this in my review. I was really surprised to see some political commentators going on about this. Oh, he's an immigrant. I mean, that's his very core base story, is that he's from another planet. He comes here, and his goal in life is to make the world a better place. People want to get angry, and getting angry over a superhero movie seems like a waste of time to me. But yes, it is political. And the film ended shooting a year ago, but there are scenes in it that feel like they're commenting. It feels like it was shot a month ago, because there's things that are commenting very directly on what's happening right now. Specifically, there's part of the story is this remote prison camp that people get sent to, that enemies of the villains get sent to without any due process. And watching that, it was like, oh, ugh.
Are there alligators around anywhere?
Well,
that's a joke. It's just a bit of a joke.
Not alligators, but it's, again, being a comic book movie, it's in a pocket universe, so it's basically impossible to get out of. So
I think it's kind of cool that he didn't do the usual, let's do the origin story, where he's, shuffled off Krypton and lands in a crater in a farmland, and these farmers find him. We've seen that a number of times. I guess I give Gunn and the writers credit to, this is like Superman in the middle of his experience, right? Which we don't always see when a reboot happens.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, it literally, the movie starts like in mid-action, in the middle of the action. Recounting an origin story does, to me, seem like a big waste of time when you're talking about Superman, who is one of the most famous, well-known fictional characters in the entire world. So I very much appreciate that he gets right into it. He also kept it at 2 hours, which is great, because superhero movies that go to like 2.5, 3 hours, that's ridiculous.
With you. We're talking with Ross Raihala. Read his stuff at twincities.com, the Pioneer Press. What else this summer are you excited about, either from a music or movie standpoint? Did you enjoy Jurassic World? Is that worth seeing? Are there other big blockbusters that you're excited to see come out this summer, or concerts you're looking forward to? What you got for us this summer?
I'm really looking forward to seeing Nine Inch Nails. Trent Reznor hasn't had the band on the road. Well, he did do some touring a couple years ago, but didn't come here. It's been a while since he's been here, and I'm just excited to see them. One of my favorite concerts ever was seeing Nine Inch Nails at the first Lollapalooza on Harriet Island, and it was, I still to this day remember that show. So I'm looking forward to that. As far as films go, I'm really looking forward to Fantastic Four. I said I was a DC kid, but I also liked Marvel, and Fantastic Four is one of my favorite comic books ever. And, they've tried to translate Fantastic Four to film a couple times, and it hasn't worked. This time, it seems promising. Pedro Pascal is in it, and I'll watch him in anything. So I'm very much looking forward to that.
Awesome. Fantastic. Great to talk to you, Ross. Appreciate your time on this Friday. And the words, I am going to check out Superman this weekend with the boys. We're going to check it out, so I'm looking forward to that. Enjoy the rest of your summer. Great catching up with you.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Ross Raihala, read him at twincities.com. We appreciate him giving us some time on a Friday. One more guest locked and loaded about 20 minutes from now. You may have heard of him. He goes by the name John Krasinski. He's in Las Vegas covering Wolves Summer League. We'll catch up with Johnny about 11:15. Get his thoughts on the Wolves debut. Very impressive performance by the young Frenchman. We'll get his thoughts on what he watched and what else he'll be doing while he's in Vegas. That's coming up at 11:15. When we come back, we'll return to some NFL conversation, NFC North in particular. A couple of Packer guys hanging out on the fan on a Friday. Let's bat around some NFC North talkers. When we come back, it's the Friday Football East on the fan.